Yo, come inside of me. It's me, Tony. Today is Dry Hump Day, Wednesday, and I do put these podcasts out on YouTube. And if you've never seen them on YouTube, you should go check it out, mostly because I guarantee that I will look my worst. I never look good doing these podcasts because I always do them kind of first thing in the morning, and I wake up with a very scrumbled face. I'm not one of those people that just wake up and like, oh, what a beauty. No, I feel like my face is a Picasso when I wake up. There's something askew. It's like I travel the astral plane so hard when I sleep. I do not sleep casually. Sleep is not like peaceful for me. It's not chill. It's me just I think like traversing space and time and doing the work. That's what I feel like my sleep is. I never wake up rested. I've never woken up and been like, let me just bounce out of bed. I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I feel like Jabba the Hutt when I wake up. And then I usually go record these podcasts after I do my practice. So my face isn't like actually on my skull correctly. So I think it's worth observing. Like what is up with her? Why does she look like this? Also, I'm sweating labia right now. And I think that would be fun to watch. Just someone sweating their labia off. Um, because it is warm because of, A, summer, B, climate catastrophe, C, we're in a fifth great extinction, mass extinction of animals. So, good morning. This is a podcast to inspire you. We're in a mass extinction of animals. Are you in a good mood today? No, we're gonna talk about. Wait, I have to do ASMR sippy sippy of the butt mud. Hold on. All right, one day I'm gonna like plan this better, but you know what? I don't make enough money to plan this better yet. So if you want me to not sip drinks during this podcast, support the Patreon. I think that I need to like actually get hired by a marketing team because my promotion PR skills are unparalleled. Um, yeah, if you don't want me to take a fucking sip in the middle of this podcast, support my Patreon and maybe I'll get up a little earlier and I'll drink my butt mud before I record. I can't be bothered to do. Oh my, the sweat that is there's like a pooling underneath the titties right now. Another good reason to look at the YouTube because now I'm tucking my shirt on to like gather the sweat of the titties. All right, let's begin. I wanted to talk about the concept of believing women today because I'm sure you've seen the meme that we wouldn't need a list. We wouldn't need Jeffrey Epstein's list if we just believed women. Like, the women have told us who's on the list, and we're like, no, I need to see an official document. I need to see his list. I can't just, like, believe these bitches. That'd be weird. No, I need to see a list that this man wrote down. I need to see his blackmail list. So let's talk about this concept of believing women. And let me first mention to you a great shame of my own, okay? Let's start with my own shame around believing women because I think that's a good place to start. So remember Kobe Bryant? And he was accused of raping probably 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. I can't remember when it happened, but it was a long, long time ago. I guess I could have looked it up, but again, you don't pay me enough to be your fucking research bitch, all right? So you look it up if you want to know when Kobe Bryant was accused of rape. But he was accused of rape, and I remember my initial reaction. Okay, this is before my Kundalini feminist awakening. This is before rape culture had even entered my consciousness. So this is just me as a person on Earth hearing about Kobe Bryant raping someone. I was young. I don't remember how old. Again, I've established I don't know how fucking old I was, but I was young. And I remember being confused because I was like, well, Kobe Bryant is like hot and he like pulls bitches. Like, why would Kobe Bryant need to rape anyone? And that was like a reason why I wasn't sure if I believed it happened. It just like, there was like a cognitive dissonance. I was like, but he can get his dick wet whenever he wants. Like, why would he rape? And so there was this disbelief I had, not because I even heard this woman's story or heard what happened, but I was just confused because I didn't understand the motivation, because I was still assuming grape was about sex and like your access to sex. So why would anyone grape if they had access to sex? So I'm not sure if this is the case for a lot of people. Fanning the tits right now. But I think there is this assumption that, like, oh, if you have access to sex, why would you ever grape? Like Harvey Weinstein graping. Sure, he looks like a shoe. He has the face of a Muppet that has been out in the sun for too long and made of some silicone, okay? Not to body shame another human or shit on someone's beauty, but Harvey Weinstein, his presentation of self was showing on the outside. You can be like a conventionally unattractive dude, but you can be sexy as fuck if you have a good personality. We all know these guys where you're like, oh, I mean, maybe your face isn't symmetrical, but you've got a great personality and you know how to dig someone down and you're funny and you're smart. You don't have to be attractive to get puss, okay? We've seen it. I mean, there's literally sitcoms about it. What do you think King of Queens is telling us? This guy is not hot. Kevin James is not hot, but he had a hot ass bitch. He had a hot ass fucking wife. So you don't need to be hot to pull bitches. We know this. However, Harvey Weinstein's grapey personality and like exploitative sense of self was showing on his face because he had the face of a curmudgeon. And so we're like, oh yeah, that guy would grape because who the fuck would consensually fuck Harvey Weinstein? I mean, that I'm just like projecting here, but I think that we have an easier time accepting grapers if we don't find them conventionally attractive. All right, if they're giving troll, we're like, okay. Even though yes, we accept that many, you don't have to be hot to fuck. I think we can accept both things, but we're more comfortable seeing a less hot person be a graper, okay? This is a cultural assumption I'm making. I don't like stand by this. I'm just trying to like unravel and understand the complexity of not believing women, especially if we think the guy can get puss, right? So long story long is that like I didn't get it with the Kobe Bryant thing. It wasn't, but I also was like, okay, you know, I wasn't going around publicly saying I didn't believe this woman. I just like wasn't clear. I think also with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, another very like public case of power and exploitation. Like we were all assuming like, oh, well, what a gift it was for her to blow Bill Clinton. Who wouldn't want to blow the president? Me, I don't want to blow no fucking president. No, I've never wanted to blow a president. I barely want to blow someone I'm deeply in love with. I mean, to get a dick in my mouth is a great accomplishment. You should get some sort of Nobel Peace Prize if you're able to convince me of this act. So when, you know, you have Monica and we're like, of course she wanted to blow the president. No, she was coerced into blowing the president. We need to like really revisit Monica Lewinsky. I know a lot of feminists have, but like we need to get back into that. So long story long, the believing women. So I think that like a lot of people, especially around Trump, are having a hard time like believing he's a rapist. And again, it's also, sorry, rapist. It's also this idea of the children, the young children, the 13-year-old, you know? And I think I talked about this on Monday, but we're all like, oh, maybe she's got her period. Can we see her as a woman at 13? If you ever hung out with a 13-year-old girl or a 12-year-old girl, that's a fucking child, okay? All right, you know, I also, you see those memes that like how men need laws to tell them not to marry children. It is strange because when I hang out with a 13-year-old girl, I'm like, you're very young. They still play with dolls. My 13-year-old was definitely playing with dolls. She's 15 now. She'll still play with a fucking doll. If no one's watching, she'll go up and play with her dollhouse. They're still kids, my dudes. All right, so I ended up getting into this like huge conversation. I wanted to just like read this because I felt like we could deconstruct it a little bit with this fucking dude on the internet. Of course, you know me getting into fucking fights on the internet. But this was in my DMs. This was someone who was like in my DMs, who we had been friendly, I think probably for a couple years. I don't know. And then he started DMing me this, and I like lost my shit. But I think it's like good to just deconstruct it really bit. Deconstruct it really bit. I don't care if that made no sense. I don't care, all right? I'm doing the best I can in the morning where my face is scrumbled and barely placed on a skull, okay? But I think if we can deconstruct this dude's text, we can understand why it's so hard for people to believe women and why we need like official FBI lists. And we could, okay. No, I'll get into that after. Give me a second. All right, so he writes to me, there's no, because obviously I'm story city about all of this stuff. Oh, and Instagram, by the way, I'm in Instagram jail. I can't go live for over a year because of my fucking stories. I can't monetize. Not that I was, but Instagram has me on lock. They have like chokeholded me. That fucking company. And I've been fighting with them, but they're not into it. So I don't even know what to do about being in Instagram jail. Can you support my videos and share me and help me get out of Instagram jail? This fucking sucks. All right. He writes, there's no evidence Trump is a grapist. He didn't use grapist, but I'm saying it. I try to always say it, so sorry. What do you mean that, then I was talking about market manipulation. Of course I was talking about market manipulation. I don't need to read to you about market manipulation, okay? So he writes, there's no evidence Trump is a rapist. And I write, except the 28 women accusing him, okay? And then he writes, there's never been 28 women accusing him of anything that have any evidence. Maybe 28 gold diggers. The only list is that came out with Hillary and her husband on it. You should check out all the people that just subpoenaed on Epstein's list. Trump's name wasn't one of them. Wrong. This was what really got me mad. Is Stormy Daniels, the professional prostitute, one of them? Is she one of the 28? Hello. So first of all, I love how this dude is talking about evidence, okay? Like, the evidence of grape is so fucking complex, my dude. You don't know what you're talking about, all right? So especially because it is so difficult to expect yourself to like be graped and then to go to the police station and then get re-graped, which is what happens. They do a grape test and then they ask you questions and then they don't believe you and then they shame you and then you're in a trauma response. Do you think it's easy to just be like, oh cool, I was just graped. I'm just gonna go to the police station and tell a bunch of men about it who are not gonna believe me. I mean, what the fuck, my dude? Evidence, what evidence do you want? How about Jeffrey Epstein has the tapes? There's evidence, you fucking dork. All right, sorry. This dude made me mad. The fact that he's like, oh, Stormy Daniels, a professional prostitute, can't be graped. This made me so, the rage I feel at this concept that someone who's a professional sex worker cannot be graped, it like the boil of my blood is making my titties drip with rage, okay? So obviously the misogyny that's embedded in the concept that someone's who's a professional quote-unquote prostitute, which she is not a prostitute. Stormy Daniels she's a sex worker, but I don't even think we use the word prostitute anymore, you fucking, okay. The fact that he thinks that she cannot be graped because she is a sex worker is the problem, okay? Do I have to explain it to you deeper? I think you get it. At most, I'm going back to his text. At most, Trump is what you would call a chauvinist pig, but he's very polite about it. This is an actual human being wrote this to me. That you can be polite about being a chauvinist pig? Do you not understand? Even if that is all he is, which is not the truth, you do not understand the harm of being a sexist, misogynist, chauvinist pig that is the leader of the fucking country? Okay. As a younger man, he was a playboy. He was more likely would party with the women, and never call him again. Don't make him a grapist. And then he goes on about the market manipulation, because obviously I had gone on about that. First of all, this guy, he wants to see him as a playboy because, again, I go back to my own Kobe Bryant story. All right, I have to elicit my own compassion. He can't understand why someone who's a quote-unquote playboy and likes to party would grape. Oh, he had access to women. He doesn't need to grape them. You get what I'm saying? So I did start this off with trying to be compassionate, even though the rage I feel is untenable. So then he goes on, biggest reason that man is supposed to be the head of the family. I don't know why he goes on this tangent, but biggest reason that man is supposed to be the head of the family is because when all the, you know what, I actually didn't read this part because I was so angry. So we're reading this for the same time. Is because when all the new settlers came over, they brought their wives, and their wives more than likely, unless they were already poor, didn't have a clue how to get their hands dirty or defend themselves. What is this guy fucking talking about? Oh, a man has to be the head of the family because when the pilgrims came, these women were fucking useless? Have you ever met a pilgrim woman? You don't think these pilgrim women knew how to fucking plant tomatoes and plow? Who do you think was working the farms, my dude? The women and the children. These bitch knew how to pull plows and tame oxes. They were fucking working. You don't think a pilgrim woman worked? Look at the body type of a pilgrim woman. These weren't Victorian women who were wealthy and fainting on couches. These were pilgrim women working hard. I mean, obviously this guy has his head inside his own anus, but still, this is a perspective worth understanding. My compassion will come back eventually, I hope. So therefore, out of necessity, a social contract was created in America because of poverty, which was very unfair towards women. Okay, thanks. Yet still everywhere else in the world, man is still considered to be the one responsible for the family unit ultimately. Nature teaches mammals this social construct. Oh, do they? Because actually what nature teaches us is that women are the ones who are supposed to choose their mates because they are the ones that are the fucking purveyors of the future of the evolution of the species in the way they choose their mates. Why do you think there's only 3% of birds have penises? Because the women didn't like getting raped. The women birds were like, we're sick of these male birds raping us. And so they literally just like kept only fucking smaller penised birds until the bird penis disappeared. All right, that's why they just like mush their butts together, because the women didn't want to get raped anymore. All right, so that's evolution. That is evolution, bro. And then I wrote, dude, I can't with this. Stop. These are real people who were raped. Go listen to their stories. Read their words. Stop defending this guy. It's not a good look. That's what I wrote. And he writes, ooh, all I know is I grew up in a generation of women who cried wolf because it was a power trip that became trendy whenever they would give up the goods at a party and purposely go drink and do drugs. And then because they were embarrassed doing the walk of shame, they would lie about being raped. Just like all them fools that went to them Diddy parties. To which I responded, are you on crack? Okay, asking someone if they're on crack, rude on my part, fine. But I didn't know. I was like, it was late. It was 11:50 at night, okay? It's like this person wants to put the responsibility on women for being violated versus actually looking at the people violated, the women. You get what I'm saying? It's like easier to be like, oh, these women just like love the attention. They love it. And again, I'm not saying that false accusations have never happened. Yeah, it has happened. I've talked about it before on the podcast, especially with white women and black men during slavery, during Jim Crow. There was that happening. But white women accusing white men of raping them, I think they raped. I think they were fucking raped, okay? And I just think that when women accuse someone of being raped, it's actually not a power trip. It's humiliating. It's not sexy. All right. No woman is like, I'm going to be like really hot and I'm just going to like tell everybody I was like raped. And that's going to be like really good for my reputation. And it means that like other guys will like totally want to date me after I talk about being raped. And also like, I'm not going to get like death threats at all. So this is what I want to remind this guy, Ivana Trump, Ivanka's mother, Ivana Trump. Where is she? Do you guys know where she is? Oh, she's dead. Why is she dead? Because the day before she was supposed to testify in court about Trump's actions towards her, she just like fell down the stairs and died. Oopsie doopsie. Well, and what a weird coincidence. And does the media talk about the fact that Ivana is dead because she just like had a bad accident right before she was supposed to testify? What about the other Epstein woman who just like, oh, I killed myself? She didn't kill herself. Epstein didn't kill himself because he's still alive. I will die on this hill. He is still alive. I'm saying it. We're going to find it out eventually, and you'll be like, that fucking chick was right about this. It is very dangerous to come out against powerful men about being assaulted. All right, so I don't think any woman is like, I think I just like want my life in danger. I think I want men's rights activists to just like dox me for the rest of my life. I think I want my name attached to this. Why do you think they're all Jane Does? Why do you think it's so hard to come out with your real name? Because it's actually really fucking hard to do. Okay, so the fact that this guy is like, oh, they're like doing it for attention, or they're doing it because they like can't handle the walk of shame. Everyone's done the walk of shame. We all can handle it. We're not even that shamed. What we are is like our feet hurt if you were wearing high heels. That is not why you accuse someone of raping you. I don't even think if you're gonna get, you know, and like also to just, oh my God, the fact that this guy just like basically is like everyone who went to those Diddy parties is an idiot. Do you understand power structures? Do you understand the whole conversation around people just like sacrificing their sense of self because they wanted their career so badly, because that is what we force people to do within a capitalist system, and how easily exploited someone is within that system? So I answered, of course, are you on crack? Not my best work. He said, no. Stupid is what stupid does. I always party by myself. I never hung around long enough to get caught up in any of that drama. What is he talking about? What, like, you partied by yourself because you don't have friends? And then you're like, well, I didn't get graped. I was partying by myself. Because you don't have friends. Because you're not around these systems of grape. Because you're not at the situation. Like, how can you claim to know what someone else is going through if you're just sitting around drinking by yourself, dude? And then I wrote, dude, stop, seriously. And he wrote, I'm just speaking the truth. And I wrote, I've had enough of dehumanizing women. And he wrote, I'm sorry if you can't handle it. I'm not dehumanizing women. I'm humanizing women. And I said, you're speaking absolute bullshit and you know it. I'm out, okay? I just could not, okay? I was so mad. And then he wrote, you're the one who are dehumanizing women by thinking that women are always right and never wrong. Okay. Women are always victims and men are never victims. That is dehumanizing women. Okay. I didn't even respond. I didn't even look at that one until today when I was taking these screenshots. So he wants to say that like I am dehumanizing women by seeing them as victims versus I am humanizing them by believing them and trying to understand their story and the complexity of their story and why they were in the situations they were in and believing them. So I guess this comes down to, and here I'm gonna muster my compassion, my understanding, and all the things that I want to be putting out in the world, is that I am identifying with these women's stories. I am identifying with what it takes to like talk about this openly. I am identifying with the female experience. He is not. He is not. He is identifying with the male experience. He is not trying to identify with the female experience within this story. And again, we're not talking about male grape, so maybe if I was like focusing purely on male grape, or if Trump was graping men, that would be, maybe he would take this differently. But because there is this like gender dynamic that's happening, that is part of the conflict. And to my credit, I think I wrote an entire show called Grape Culture that is on tour right now, where I am with every fiber of my being trying to understand the male perspective within grape culture. So I make art about it, I talk about it, I speak about it. If you listen to my podcast, I am trying to understand the male perspective within this and not just be like, every man is a piece of shit. I understand this is a consciousness and a psychological conundrum that men are involved in and need to be helped to get out of. I am not about saying every single man is a piece of shit. What I am saying is every single man needs to spend the time understanding the female perspective if they're ever going to free themselves of grape culture. Because I think I spend the time trying to understand the male perspective. Oh, hello, I have another show, Men Come Inside of Me, also where I do this. My work, my efforts, my my things that I put out into the world is trying to understand complex perspectives. And this person was refusing to do that, which was why I was like so out my face and just getting so upset, is because of the lack of nuance and like just not even having an effort to understand another person's perspective. So there is like an ancient Greek myth that talks about the orgasm and who has the better orgasm, and it's like the man or the woman, and it's like this unknowable conversation about what is it. It's a metaphor, obviously. What is it to be man? What is it to be woman? And of course, what is it to be beyond gender, which is what I think the trans movement is so threatening to men, because you have people that are like, well, let's deconstruct gender completely. And when you're so attached to your male gender, your male identity, and someone is like, well, it's all an illusion, let's explore it, of course that's going to be threatening. But because we can all admit that there is a gender divide between the masculine and the feminine socialized constructs, right? Masculine is a socialized construct, feminine is a socialized construct. We all have both traits. We all know this. I don't need to tell you. But when you are not curious about what it is to experience the world in a female body, or in a male body, or in a trans body, then you are going to be missing out on the level of compassion that the world needs right now, the level of humility that the world needs right now, the level of understanding that the world needs right now. So if I'm going to try to understand this guy, which is hard for me because I am angry at him, I have to bring myself back to that Kobe Bryant, consciousness that I was in at that time, and just not putting the pieces together and just seeing grape as something that was just like about access versus it being a deep psychological desire that actually has nothing to do with sex. Okay, or access to sex. So I hope this was helpful. I think the thing that we need to do in our conversations with people is say when you're getting frustrated, okay, so let me talk about my regrets. What do I regret in my conversation with him? Ask him if he was on crack. I could have asked a better question. The question I should have asked is like, have you tried to elicit empathy for what it is like to be these women in these situations? Oh, hey, my friend she was so quietly, she's gonna be on my podcast on Friday. Isn't that exciting? She was so quietly trying to, you won't be able to hear her because she's downstairs, which is really too bad, but I could hear her bones cracking as she quietly tried to move. I love you. Oh my God, she's wearing a beautiful green dress. Okay, you're gonna hear her on my podcast on Friday. Very exciting. I'm gonna leave it at, I don't know. You don't know who yet. Okay, so long story long, what am I trying to say? Oh, I forgot. Oh, yeah, I wish I had asked him better questions to try to elicit his empathy. And I guess I was on my period. To give myself grace, I was on my period and it was late and I was just so mad. And so again, it's like when you're mad, you're not going to be asking the better questions and you're not going to be changing other people's minds. So I wish that me as a mad person just kind of like got out of there and reapproached it later. But however, I do think that by my being mad, he was able to just kind of write these fucking messages that made me even madder, that I thought was valuable for us to all listen to, because it is a common perspective. It is a common perspective. And this is why just believing women is hard for a lot of people. And I think we have to understand why it's hard for them in order to ask the right questions to help them see the bigger conversation around grape culture, so they can be like, oh, right, okay, a misogynist pig playboy maybe did grape someone. And I just am still trying to understand why. Oh, yeah, okay. I think the last thing I want to say, and then I'm going to go. Why does anyone want to defend a politician? It makes me so dry. I am so confused as to why these people feel the compulsion to defend politicians. And it is because they want daddy. They want daddy to protect them. They want a system to protect them. They do not want to have autonomy of themselves because they want to be controlled, because being controlled is easier. So if men weren't so inherently submissive And I say that not to be a dick, but if men weren't so inherently submissive to other men, the police state would not be available to us. The military industrial complex would not be happening. The ICE would not be happening, because all of these are men being submissive to the orders of other men. So in truth, men are very submissive, and I'm not saying that to throw shade. I'm saying that because just look at these systems of oppression. They are upheld by submissive men and submissive women, but we all call women submissive constantly within all of these structures. So to say women are submissive isn't fucking controversial. To say men is submissive may trigger some of you, but they are. I think we have to look at the fact that, let's just say people are submissive. The majority of people are submissive. Okay, maybe I don't have to be so fucking gendered in my conversation, but I just wanted to remind us that when I say the majority of people, I am also including men. The majority of people are very submissive and actually want to be told what to do. And we have to fucking look at that and accept that. And if there weren't so many submissive people, we would not be defending politicians and defending ecosystems and structures of society that are detrimental to ourselves, to our soul, to our humanity, and are basically just shooting ourselves in the foot and fucking ourselves up our own butts. Okay, thanks so much for coming to this podcast today. Support the Patreon. Grape Culture, the show, is on sale now. Go and to my linky tree, get tickets. Boston, Philadelphia, Seattle. All right, more to come. If you want me to come to you, want me to come inside of you, email me. Tell me you want me to come. Help me figure out a venue. Let's do this. Can I also stay with you? Because I cannot stay at a hotel. It would financially ruin the whole project if I have to pay for housing. So can I stay with you? Support the Patreon. If you like this podcast, can you share it? Can you review it? Can you do these things? Like, you know what to do. Other people tell you what to do. I'm just trying to remind you to do the things you're supposed to do when you like a podcast. Also, are you sharing my videos? Because I'm in Instagram jail. Are you sharing them? Share them on the TikTok. Share them on Instagram. Comment. All right, I love you. Bye. See ya.